right. So
Get
here
ready.
we are on the Get Bizee Podcast,
Yeah.
midday, right?
Midday, beautiful Seattle.
Beautiful Seattle. It's another blue sky day.
Yeah.
You know, this whole thing about Seattle is wet and rainy. I have yet to experience that
Okay.
in my travels to Seattle.
Okay.
I mean, it's dry, it's sunny, it's beautiful. There's water, there's mountains.
But the rain is beautiful too
The
now.
rain is beautiful
Okay.
too. And I would expect someone like you to say that,
Yeah.
right? The glass is half full for sure. So I'm
Yeah.
here with Derieontay Sparks.
Mhm.
You are so many different kinds of entrepreneur, right? We were
Mhm.
just talking before we went live about your experience with Goodwill, your experience as a business person, an automation transformation expert. And I want to dig into what that means. But the theme that emerged to me, and the one that really stood out, I think that is super important for us to talk about, is the leadership stuff. And leadership, you know, there's a difference between a leader and a manager, right? A vast
Yeah.
difference between the two things. So first of all, let's start with Goodwill, right? Let's talk about your role at Goodwill and why you do what you do and what that business model looks like. Because, you know, first of all, for those who are listening who don't know what Goodwill is, walk us through.
Absolutely. First and foremost, let me just say how honored I am to be with y'all today.
We're honored to have you.
To be here today. Goodwill, you know, I really honestly will share with all of you, it is my life's work. I'm an individual that very much is rooted in people, very much rooted in purpose, very much rooted in the planet. Goodwill allows me to really intersect all three of those. Our number one focus as a social enterprise, not for profit, social enterprise, is to get people standing up. To where they can find jobs and it leads them to get past whatever economic barrier that may stand in their way. I get the pleasure and the blessing of actually driving the retail side of Evergreen Goodwill here in Seattle.
Okay.
And what that means is I have oversight of all of our brick and mortar locations, all of our e-commerce locations, our marketing and communication team, and a small retail operation leadership group. Collectively, we drive our retail arm to be able to give our mission side the impact and the outcomes that they drive, where we help over 6,000 people annually through what we do on the
Is
retail
that
side.
like for a place like Goodwill, and forgive me, like I've never had an interview with anyone associated with Goodwill. It's a very different topic for business, but how do you measure the success of Goodwill? Like, is it, you know, through those 6,000 people you impact? Like, how is that, you know, what's a KPI, or is that how you work?
Absolutely is how we work, and it's very similar to any other traditional business.
Okay.
Yes, we pride ourselves on the impact and outcomes we have in the communities that we serve, the 6,000 plus number I gave you. But within the retail side, we operate like any traditional retailer.
Right.
You know, I have KPIs that really measure our success. You know, we have inputs, we have outputs, we have everything that a traditional retailer will have. You know, I have productivity goals, I have labor cost goals, I have all the different things that we have to do to manage a very successful bottom line performing business.
That is so interesting to me, you know, because it's so much more than, you know, a traditional, like I wouldn't have put it in the category of retail, but it is.
It is.
It's a store, right? It's a place. We were talking earlier about transformations, right? Like throughout your career, you've been associated with endeavors and businesses and efforts that are about transformations, right? Touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. You know, no matter, and I spent 20 years in the traditional retail space with Macy's before I came over to Goodwill.
I saw that.
And as you know, you spend a lot of time on the entrepreneurial side with this business that I have with my lovely bride. At the end of the day, transformation, innovation, automation fuels every part of what I've been involved with.
Talk about automation.
Automation.
Right?
So,
Like,
for example, within the Goodwill space right now, we have a couple different betas we're calling it, pilots that we're looking at. One being, how do we utilize AI in our business model more regularly than we've ever had before? I'm at a point now where we actually have beta, what we're calling stations, set up in one of our back rooms to where we can run a donated item under a picture. That picture in AI will actually tell us this item is selling for X amount online. This item is selling for X amount in a thrift store.
Right.
This item's value and condition is X, Y, and Z, to where we dynamically can price and or put this item, route it to the appropriate site.com or in a store to be able to maximize this value.
Yeah.
And that's the type of automation that we're looking at. Here in the very near future, we will bring in conveyances that will do a lot of the manual work that we do right now on the Goodwill side. And I want to be clear, a lot of people, they confuse the fact that automation and conveyances takes jobs away from people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, what we're all about is upskilling people.
Yeah.
Historically, Goodwill has used their people to be the machine.
How do you reconcile that, though?
Yeah, because we teach them how to run the machine now. At the end of the day, I'm a believer jobs change lives. If it's with me at Goodwill, if it's at Nordstrom, if it's at Macy, whomever it may be, we want to position people to take that next step in their journey of a professional career.
Yeah.
If that means I upskill them to run a machine that can do some of the manual work we've historically done, so be it. And I'm going to allow them to blossom and go out in the universe and do the things that they've been taught to do.
Do you have like a story you can tell me about transforming someone's life who comes in and works for you? Like what does that look like in real life?
Oh man, there's so many stories. I won't give you names, but I will give you individuals. There's an individual that was part of our Burien location. He was in the role of what we call material handler. So he was the one out front, greeting, acknowledging, taking that donation
Intake, right?
Intake, all about the acquisition side.
Right.
And this individual, man, he would just give us his heart and his soul. Meaning that he was so passionate about that level of customer service and that first interaction with that donor, because he knew if he mastered that, they will continue to give to Goodwill. They will continue to support us in the communities that we serve.
Creating like an experience.
Yeah. And, I think about him to this day, and he's no longer with Goodwill, but I do know for a fact he's with a traditional retailer right now, and he's in a leadership management role right now. And he came to us where English was not his first language. He was able to get English teachings and be able to really incorporate English into his way of doing things. But at the same time, he was upskilled. He got Microsoft training. He got Word training, Excel training. He got a lot of different skill sets, computer trainings, to where now he's thriving.
Is there anything better than having, had an impact on somebody's life? Right? That as a leader, there is nothing better than watching somebody leave you, right? And go on and succeed in life.
It's what drives me. You use the word transformation.
Yeah.
And we can look at transformation in many different ways. Me personally, I love that I can transform people.
Yeah.
That I can touch you. I can find that emotional connection to where you and I can find a way to make you better than when I first met you.
Yeah.
And that is really where I put my leadership, my effort, my energy, because it's so important to me as a being.
Right.
So extract leadership out of the equation. That's who I am as a human.
Yeah.
And transforming people and their lives is extremely important to me.
Yeah. And it comes through in your bio and everything I've read about you. And like the whole thing about leadership and lifting people up and transforming their lives and their, the journey that they're on is leadership like that is a dying art form, right? And in today's economy and today's environment and our social, conditions right now, the human condition, right? Like how can you teach? Like, what is your philosophy for passing on this skill, right? Because what we were saying earlier, there are managers, right? Managers can have bunches of people that work for them. Yeah. And then there are leaders, right? Great leaders are often, if not most of the time, really terrible managers, right? Like the admin side is not maybe the bag of many a great leader, but like what is your goal as a leader to pass this skill on to the next generation? Very important skill, leadership.
One person at a time.
Yeah.
I think leadership, my philosophy is this: It's situational and it's individualized.
Yeah.
And you have to find those moments to emotionally connect with the individual
Yeah.
to where you can help them see how you lead, how you move, how you respond
Yeah.
in certain situations. But coaching is critical.
Yeah.
I think too many leaders fall on the admin. I need you to do X. I need you to do Y.
Right.
I kind of have this saying when folks come to me that work for me. And I ask 3 questions every single time they come to me. My team knows it. I'm asking the question, are you coming to me today because you want me to solve this problem? Second, are you coming to me today because you want me to coach you to figure out this problem?
Yeah.
Thirdly, are you coming to me today just to listen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You decide how you want this conversation and this leadership to go.
Yeah.
And within that, I can always find how we need to pace that conversation.
Yeah.
And to your question of, how do we pass this on? It's one person at a time.
Yeah.
I think back and
It's
reflect
not a
on
scale thing.
It's
right?
not a scale thing.
It doesn't
It's not.
scale.
No book can teach you it. No podcast can give you it.
No.
You have to be able to humanize the conversation and individualize it in a way where something you said or something you gave that person across from you triggered them to where now they're like thinking.
Yeah.
And they're, okay, what am I going to do next? What's my next move? That's leadership.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not answering all the questions, but you're helping them to think about how to get to the answers.
Are leaders made or born?
I say they're made.
Yeah.
I say they're made. Okay. And they come in many different forms and fashions. Some have that business savviness.
Yeah.
Some have that people humanistic side. Some have the ability to, articulate themselves in a very good way. It comes in many forms and fashions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I disagree.
Do you?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I think leaders are, you can learn the skills, but you're born with the traits, right?
Okay.
Like you can learn to, I guess it's the difference between being, skilled and excellent, right? Like you can learn the skills of leadership, listening, but it takes a very certain kind of personality to understand how to inspire the absolute best in people.
See,
right?
here's where we can have a healthy debate.
Okay.
This is where we can have a healthy debate.
Tell me, lay it out there.
Okay, because let me give you a little bit of my history, my background. I come from a single mother. I come from, and I want to honor, my stepdad who came in and was a beautiful part of my life later on in my life.
Yeah.
As I looked at my surroundings and my upbringing and those that were influential at that point in my life, I argue the fact that you were born with these traits.
Yeah. Really?
Because I saw the cycle. I saw what was going on, and many generations, by the way, and unfortunately, it just wasn't there. So I had to step out of that environment.
That is so interesting, but maybe it was just in you and needed to be nurtured.
But to be in you, it has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. And it may have come from generations down the line. And don't get me wrong, I got a lot of beautiful people in my family. But at the same time, it's tough for me to pinpoint where it came from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Fair. All right.
Okay.
We're going to call it a draw.
Call it a draw. Okay.
All right. But, all right. This is where it gets interesting because how did you learn leadership? Right. If you weren't born, like it's such a, I sit here on a throne, thinking that you're born or made, right? But really the grit, how did you become a great leader?
I will say this. You use a word that I often use, the grit.
Yeah.
Scrappiness, learning, failing. These are all
a lot of failure. Leaders fail.
I have failed so many times in my life. There's been tears. There's been heartache. There's been a lot that I've had to pick myself up from. Funny enough, I was listening to a song as I was driving here today, and it came on. Nipsey Hussle, grinding all my life.
Nipsey Hussle, man, that is the Wayback Machine.
Okay, let's just say grinding all my life. And I think about me in that space, that's what I've had to do. And through that grind, through that grit, through that trial, error, failure, I've been able to pick up things over time that I've been able to build what I like to call my arsenal of tools.
When you get knocked down though, right? Like when you're a leader, like here's the thing. It's not like some glamorous, not everybody is Richard Branson, right? Leaders fail and that is okay, right? But the key is how you dust yourself off and get back up.
Yeah.
Right. So like, let's talk about failures that leaders make.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, right. Okay. Since we're like having an open mic debate here, you know, like failure, entrepreneurship, right? Like when you're a founder, right, or a business person, like not all founders are meant to be leaders, right? And not all entrepreneurs are leaders, right?
True.
But the main thing is how you comport yourself, dust yourself off after a failure, right? Let's talk about like common failures that leaders make.
Yeah. You know, I also have this saying that you have to fail fast and move on.
Yeah,
Okay?
it's a really good philosophy. Fast. It's hard to do.
Hard to do.
Right?
Some of those common, and I'm just going to call them missteps, growing too fast. Not picking up the ability to see around corners. I think that's an important part of why people fail at times, because you're not looking around the corner and seeing what's coming.
What are you looking at if you're not?
There is a multitude of things. You know, are you doing your due diligence to understand what the market, whatever you may be in, is doing right now?
Right.
Are you looking at what your competition is doing right now? Are you looking at what's scaling as far as what's your labor costs? Are you looking at, you know, some of the lease agreements, whatever it may be? Everything is an equation.
Yeah.
There's math to everything.
That's what managers should be doing, though.
But you have to have a piece of that in your arsenal, because typically a leader has these managers reporting up to them.
Right.
And if you don't have your thumbprint on the pulse of the business, how do you or how can you question what's going on and what's right or wrong?
Exactly.
Okay. So those are some of the things that I have learned over the years. And again, I have failed miserably on many occasions, but I've also found lots of successes throughout my career.
Yeah.
And for me, it's always, and I'll say this again, I wholeheartedly stand on this, it's about the people and my ability to connect with you, my ability to find that emotional connection, but more importantly, individualize my styling to you where we go on this journey together. Yeah.
There's a lot of, so you have this inspirational leadership in you, right? Right now, there's like this, it's trendy, right? And I think it started in Silicon Valley. Leadership by fear, right? Let's talk about fear and leadership and what happens to the success of a business if you lead with fear.
Yeah, I will tell you this command and control environment, lead through fear, whatever it may be.
Am I right, though? It's
Absolutely.
Like the thing right now. And there was an article in the Wall Street Journal a month ago or so about just how the trend right now is to be an asshole as a leader.
Yeah.
I don't know, like...
To your point, it's a trend.
Yeah.
And I will just name it for what I believe it is.
Tell me.
If you have to lead by fear, if you have to have command and control, you need to take a step back and put your ego in check.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, nobody wants to follow anyone in that regard.
Right.
And here's the reality. People need a paycheck right now. And I see every morning.
So true.
And the layoffs and all the things that are happening across corporate America right now. So people are scared to do and jump ship. So therefore, they take the command and control.
They'll just take it.
But at the end of the day, I will always say this. For those of us that have experienced entrepreneurship, there's always an option to do more and to do outside of what corporate America has. I have the perfect blend of both, and I love it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also know that I have that side hustle.
Yeah.
I know what can happen from an entrepreneurial point of view, and there's a lot of successes that can come out of that.
Yeah.
But again, I'll go back to the fact, if an individual has to lead, command, control through fear, put your ego in check. Okay? You don't have to do that, because people will follow you with a different approach. Yeah,
exactly. Okay? Exactly. And, you know, so if you are a leader and you are leading with fear, by fear, like that's how you motivate people. How do you, like, it's very easy to sit here and say, take a step back and check your ego. Yeah. You know, do people really do that?
Yeah. Like, you know, and here's the reality. I think folks need to learn to coach up. Yeah. Okay. Folks need to learn to have the right conversations. Yeah. Because really, it's about a dialogue. You know, if you're that command and control and you're pushing me by fear, I should have the ability to sit down with you and say, let's talk about this. Right. The reaction, the responses, the way you're pushing, I don't respond well to. Yeah. Can we navigate this differently? I want you to be successful. You obviously want me to be successful,
Right.
but your way of operating right now doesn't land well.
Yeah.
So we're at a crossroad here.
Yeah.
Either I need to figure out how to adapt to what you were doing, or you need to figure out how to adapt to what I need. And I go back to some of my first comments. Leadership is individualized.
Yeah.
It's not at scale. And you have to connect with the person.
Exactly. Like one person at a time. So let's go back to your side hustle.
Yeah.
Chit chat, right?
Yeah,
You just dropped that casually in conversation. So, for people who are listening, who want to make that leap into business ownership, entrepreneurship, how do you go from, that employee mentality to an entrepreneur's mentality, right? Like that's, it's really hard. And I think a lot of people struggle with, paycheck. Like I need that stability. I need what is your, do you have a secret sauce?
I don't think there is a secret sauce.
Yeah.
What I would say is this: find something that you're extremely passionate about.
Yeah.
Test the waters. Okay. You can always run back to corporate America,
right?
But test the waters and understand that you do possess those skills to actually stand up a business. You just haven't learned how to translate it yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So take what you know and what you learned in your corporate life or whatever it may be, and think about how does it translate into entrepreneurship.
Right.
I get the blessing that, my lovely wife, she's the boss lady. She's the brain. She's the ones driving the day-to-day activities of what we do have in our salon. But at the same time, I can run everything behind the scenes.
Right.
I'm the economical guy.
Right.
I'm the administrative guy. I'm the one that can really put all the pieces together because I'm the math guy.
Yeah.
And she's the face of the operation. But point being, I learned that in my traditional world of corporate America, and I just brought it over to that.
Right.
Okay.
And you know what? We're remiss because we jumped right into Goodwill.
Yeah.
You also have a salon. Let's talk about the side hustle business, which is actually much, much more than a side hustle.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. We've been in operation for 22 years now.
That is a long time for a salon.
And our salon is on the east side of Seattle in the Bellevue area. And my wife has just given the salon her blood, her sweat, her tears. And over the years, we've just grown in square footage. We've grown in employee count. And she has really found herself being a mainstay in this Bellevue community.
That is really
And I just see her clientele come in, and some of the folks that walk into those front doors every day, how much they appreciate her.
Yeah.
And when I sit back and just take a look at, okay, why? Not only is she a good hairstylist, and she only takes a very selective group of folks, but because she's also centered on people. I sit her and watch her when people sit in her chair, the conversations they have, it's like going to the doctor.
Yeah.
It's like going to the therapist,
Exactly.
And it's just one of these moments to where it becomes, forget the hair, let's just talk as humans.
Yeah.
And she has masterfully done that.
That would be a really good Netflix series.
Oh, it's beautiful to just watch. And I'm sometimes just I sit back like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Because what you've created is an experience.
Right.
They're going to
also, it's trust.
It's trust.
Right? It's trust. And, that's also a leadership thing.
Yeah.
Right? Building that trust. And it's an entrepreneurship thing. How do you build trust with the people who work for you?
I want to know your name. I want to know who you are. I want to know your background. How many kids do you have?
Right.
Okay. Give me your story.
Right.
Because one of the beautiful talents that I have been given is I remember stuff. So I may be out in a brick and mortar store. I may be in a corporate office. I may be in my e-com space, but I'm going to remember your name. I'm going to remember you told me you have 2 kids. You told me your kid was going off to, college. I remember that stuff.
Yeah.
And I go back to something I've said multiple times in this conversation, emotional connections.
Yeah.
Okay. Once you establish that emotional connection with folks, that's how you start to build the trust.
Yeah.
Because now they see you as a human. I may carry this beautiful title that they gifted me, but that means nothing to me.
Right.
This is Derry and Amy talking. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
And I want to know how I can inspire you.
Right.
And I always walk into a situation or an environment or a store. How do I leave it better than before I showed up?
Yeah.
And
that
that's
is so key. And that's everything, right? Like when we were talking earlier, like the planet, right? Like all of these things that are so important to you and to humanity, that's like your legacy, right? How important is legacy to you, and what is it? Right.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of entrepreneurs like, my legacy is going to be, I'm going to have a building named for me, you know, at University of Chicago or whatever. Right. But what is it to you?
So legacy for me is, I want you to be able to sit around the table someday with your family, your grandkids, and share how I was able to impact your life.
Yeah.
Through whatever connection we established over the years. For me, for my name to be spoken when I'm not in the room in a positive way, that's all I need.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
For someone to say.
And it's the same in business as, in society and culture. It's you want to leave the place in a better way than it was when you got here.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, it's really cool to be able to have this conversation about, we're calling it leadership, but it's stewardship as well, right? And I don't get to have this chat very often, and I feel very inspired getting to talk with you today.
Thank you.
And, if you have, as we're kind of wrapping up here, and I know you do, because I know you're going to whip out some sentences here, but advice to young entrepreneurs who might feel challenged or scared or defeated, what is your advice right now for moving forward as an entrepreneur and leader?
And I'm going to go back to a couple things we've talked about, just to kind of give a full circle moment here. It's okay to fail.
Yeah, it is.
Fail fast.
Yeah.
Dust yourself off.
Right. Do not wallow in it.
Do not wallow in it at all, because your day will come.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, find that thing that you're passionate about. Yeah. And you have to be able to stand in front of whomever, and you won't waver from it.
Yeah.
For
like
me,
your wife.
Like
right?
my wife.
Yeah.
But for me, it's people. I am centered on people. I will not waver. I don't care if I have a president, CEO in my face saying X, Y, and Z. If it doesn't protect the people, I will push back. Right. Find that in your life. Find that in your work life from an entrepreneurial point of view. Number 3, and you heard me say it earlier, continue to look around the corner. And what that means for me is you have to see what's coming. I think some of the biggest failures is because you didn't give yourself time to do due diligence, to be able to see what the market is doing, to be able to see what the labor trends are, to be able to see how do you stay ahead of competition. Right. That in itself, you have to be able to give yourself time and space for.
Yeah.
And the last thing I would say is this. Know that success is something you can go after and you can own.
Yeah.
Okay. You heard me say it in the beginning, our healthy debate we had. I don't think leadership is naturally given to you. You got to learn this. Okay?
I'm going to give you the win on that, because I've been sitting here thinking about it, and you're right.
Okay. And I think people need to understand that. It's the trial, it's the error, it's the do, it's the challenge. It's really going out there and just looking at how to find what you're going to be good at. And it's going to take time. Be patient. Be patient.
Exactly.
It's going to take time.
And be fearless, but not reckless.
Not reckless.
Right? I see a lot of that recklessness out there with young entrepreneurs. And the other thing is, right, because you touched on this, right? Like watching what's coming around that twisty, that corner.
Yeah.
But also, know your numbers.
Know your numbers.
I mean, it is amazing to me that some entrepreneurs are just don't know.
No,
right?
There's math to everything. And once you figure out that everything is an equation, trust me, it will make your life as an entrepreneurial so much better.
Yeah.
Know your numbers.
Yeah.
Give your time and space to do that.
But always be looking around that corner.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Derie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For also calming me down, right? You have this very calming energy, but also really breaking down leadership. And, you can develop those skills.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
High five.
High five.